Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes it. Lewis Hamilton, champion of the world.
Ewan Kankin, 4 times title holder.
If you're like me, then you probably got into NASCAR at a time when Hendrick Motorsports absolutely dominated. Fielding 4 cars, 2 of which were driven by some of the greatest champions in NASCAR history, namely Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, you'd be almost certain to see a Hendrick car running at the front of the pack during that era. Combined with Dale Earnhardt Jr. also on the roster, Hendrick Motorsports steamrolled every popularity contest in the 2010s as well. And this year, we've seen signs that Hendrick's rebuild project might be getting them back to the heady heights we've seen them reach before. Despite Chase Elliott being sidelined by a skiing accident, the 48 of Alex Bowman sits at the top of the points standings, with William Byron and his 2 wins in the 24 sitting 3rd. But have these been ill-gotten gains? The simple answer is yes. Before March 10th at Phoenix, NASCAR confiscated the hood louvers from all 4 Hendrick cars and brought them to Concord, North Carolina for further investigation. The results of their findings caused NASCAR to issue a penalty deduction of 100 championship points and 10 playoff points to Larson, Bowman, and Byron, fining Hendrick $100,000 and issuing a 4-race suspension to certain crew members. However, the National Motorsports Appeal Panel has overturned the points penalties imposed. They say that they agree with NASCAR's position that Hendrick Motorsports violated the rules, but ruled that they amend the penalty imposed, which is something that NASCAR disagrees with. NASCAR's stance was to make an example out of one of the biggest teams in the sport, sending the message that you cannot bend or break the rules without consequences, and they intended to use potential points penalties as the deterrent. But with the points returned and Hendrick top of the charts once again, it's important to consider whether Hendrick really are cheating to keep themselves ahead of the rest of the field. Hendrick already build some of the best cars in the business. They machine their engines in-house and supply engines and parts to a variety of other teams and other ventures, combined with being NASCAR's technical partner for the Garage 56 Le Mans entry. And this year they seem to have found the best balance amidst a new rules package for short tracks, a package which has reduced aerodynamic downforce by 30%. This has been achieved by modifications to a 2-inch rear spoiler instead of the current 4-inch, as well as the removal of 3 diffuser strakes, engine panel strakes, and trimming the diffusers out of fencing. Now, these may seem like fairly minor tweaks. It's hardly adding a second engine onto the car and sticking a rocket booster on the back. But when you look at Hendrick's performance on short tracks, their illegal modifications theoretically could play a huge part in their aerodynamic gains. It was found that Hendrick had modified their hood louvers, which are vents in the hood of the car that release air from the engine compartment that's transferred out of the radiator. These are designed in a way which is intended to decouple engine performance from aerodynamic performance and offset any benefit of teams taping off air intakes, which would provide aerodynamic boosts at the expense of potential engine health. Now, Hendrick, by and large, don't really need to worry about engine health. They make some of the best engines in the business in terms of both performance and reliability, so they could theoretically modify the angles of their hood louvers by a very small amount to boost downforce. So while other teams struggle to get to grips with the new package, which forces drivers to utilize brakes more, make smoother cornering movements, and increasing the challenge of running competitively across multiple lanes, Hendrick would find themselves far clear. Hendrick themselves blamed the discrepancies NASCAR found on the parts suppliers. Hood louvers are a spec part that have been newly designed for the 2023 season, and they are machined externally and delivered to each team. But NASCAR ensures that all parts undergo strict scrutiny before delivery, as well as their standard technical inspections before and after every race. And Elton Sawyer, NASCAR's Senior Vice President of Competition, was adamant that the areas of the louvers that had been modified were not in areas that would be fixed to accommodate the fitting of a misshapen component. And last season, Roush Fenway Motorsports, Stuart Haas, and Front Row had all been penalised for making similar modifications to single-source parts. So Hendrick have been slapped on the wrist, but have leaned enough on the motorsports authorities to avoid any detrimental impact where it really matters in the points standings. But we might not have heard the last of this particular issue. If Hendrick can modify the hood itself, then who knows what else they've modified underneath, as well as in any other areas of the car that NASCAR just hasn't discovered yet. Do you think Hendrick should have lost their points? Will they go on to win the championship regardless? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed that video and you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. And additionally, if you want to support future content while having a say in what I cover next, please consider donating to the link in the description below. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe out on the road, and I will see you next time.